I'm Samuel Baird.
I'm the CuberCubes.
And I'm Josh, and you're listening to episode 72.
Hi, this is Daniel Goodman.
Dylan Wang from JPerm.
Ian Scheffler.
Kira Munter from India.
This is Alex from Z3Cubing.
What's up, guys? This is Jaden McNeil from Australia, and you're listening to the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Yes, that's right. Welcome to the Corner Cutter Podcast. Podcasting since 2014 and cubing since 2015. I'm your host, Josh, and this is a weekly speed cubing podcast. Thank you for listening or for checking it out if you're tuning in for the first time. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and a whole bunch of other podcast apps and directories. And if you want to find out more information about the show, information about me, other resources, and show notes, go check out the website, thecornercutterpodcast.com. And coming up today is another Cuber Chats episode. This is where I talk with people like you who signed up on the guest form, and we just discuss different topics about cubing. So the first topic today is about the WCA removing feet. Now, we're not just talking about feet, but we speculate and toss around ideas about how the WCA is functioning, how they could add new events or take away events, and just future suggestions or suggestions for the future for the WCA. Then, a little bit later, we get into SpeedCubeShop and how they are having problems with the fake cube store, speedcubeshop.co.uk. So those are the topics for this week, and the guests are Samuel Baird and CuberCubes, and he was featured on episode 58, so you can go back and listen to that if you would like. We'll jump into our conversation in just a second, but I do want to hear from you and hear your feedback. If you want to email in, my email address is josh@thecornercutterpodcast.com. I got a really nice email from Ariz a couple days ago, and I'll be reading that email in a couple weeks on one of the next episodes. So thank you, Ariz, for sending the email in. I do appreciate it. So let's jump into Cuber Chats. Hey, Samuel, welcome to the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me here.
Oh yeah, no problem. Great to have you on your first Cuber Chats episode, and welcome back, CuberCubes, from the CuberCubes YouTube channel.
Oh, hello. So yeah, I think I don't need to introduce myself. If you haven't watched the episode, certainly recommend it. Great podcast. But yeah, let's get right into the podcast, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So, Samuel, do you want to move into one of your topics?
So first off, I think it's kind of interesting that in the proposal for the reg changes, they never have either of you seen that? They have they kind of propose it to the board, and that's public, and they give people time to make suggestions. So they posted that, and there's nothing mentioning feet in there. And lots of people were saying, well, it's because feet isn't it won't be in the reg changes until 2020 because that's when it's getting removed. But the thing about that is the proposal initially was to remove it pretty much as soon as 2019 ended, December 31st, 11:59 p.m. as soon as it turns to midnight, no more feet. But they always release the regs around March. So there would kind of be a 3-month gap in 2020 where they would have feet still, I guess, which is weird. But pretty much feet may be staying because of that. I haven't heard any confirmation or anything, but speculation. But yeah, out of everything, I think probably clock is going to be next on the chopping block.
Yeah. Honestly, I
think
could not agree more.
With these delegates kind of realizing that they have more power to like remove stuff and all that with feet, lots of people are going to be angry on both sides, especially those delegates who liked feet or wanted it kept. And I could see trying to remove clock just because, kind of a revenge move almost.
But not like a revenge, honestly. It's more of like that. And what I was thinking is, I think clock is probably going to be next because just one, all the Rubik's and WCA conflicts, and Rubik's clock is what most people use, though. I think that's kind of over with. Though another thing that I was thinking is, are we just going to get rid of events? Or are we going to kind of do a substitute and bring in some other events? Because we've been talking ever since Cube was added, everybody was like, wait, we can add events, so let's add them. Like,
and it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
I think the thing is with especially large scale competitions, they just don't have time for a ton of events. So I think in general, until cubing can grow a little more and we can start seeing like 4 or 5 day competitions even, I think we're going to see max probably 20 events, or like somewhere around there. It may fluctuate a little over the years, but yeah, I think one of the I think the reason clock is going to be first is it shares a lot of similarities to feet. So on GitHub, that's where they kind of discuss some of the reg things. There was a list of reasons why they're going to remove feet, and clock shares a lot of those similarities. Primarily, they never stated this, but feet is the smallest non-blind event. The only things that have lower competitor counts are 4 blind and 5 blind, which is kind of shocking because that kind of shows it's less of a. I mean, not everyone can do blind. For sure.
The thing is, but
everyone can do feet. Everyone, if you know CFOP, if you know LBL, whatever, you can do feet. So it kind of shows that people aren't doing feet because they don't know it. They're doing it because they don't want to do feet. But also with that, feet was held. The only event held less than feet was 5 blind over all its time. So even 4 blind has been held in competition more than feet. So that's part of the reason people aren't competing, but people don't want to organize this either just because it's kind of a hassle. As an organizer who has organized feet, actually I think all my comps that I've organized have had feet, even though I don't like it personally. We have to have separate timers for feet.
It's a pain.
And we saran wrap the pads just so that in between competitors we can switch them out. And since we have so few competitors locally, we're able to just do stationary, and then after the first group, change out the saran wrap. But lots of places do that, but not everyone does. There are plenty of people who will use normal timers for feet, which sanitation can be argued, but similar to feet needing that extra equipment, clock needs extra equipment a lot just because most normal cube covers don't fit them, and so it causes them to be knocked over a lot. Like I have a 3D printed clock cover, and I think if we do start introducing those, that could help fix a lot of that problem. I know Southeast has been doing that a lot, and I think if we could start, especially if Cubicle and SpeedCubeShop, Cube Depot, kind of just, I know those are US ones, but just cube distributors everywhere could start like producing those. That could help a lot with that. But so it's not super big. People don't like it as much, and it kind of causes some problems for organizers. Those are lots of the big reasons feet were removed. And I could definitely see those coming along with clock as well, especially it is a lower, like I know this they never mentioned it, but I'm sure that they considered that feet doesn't have many competitors when they discussed everything. I mean, that was one of the things, I believe it was if by the time 2018 was over, if they didn't hit, I think it was 4.5% of all competitors competing in feet, and like 2% of all comps holding feet, then they were going to remove it. And it didn't hit either of those. But yeah, clock is the most similar in an organizational kind of standpoint to feet.
Yeah, it seems like after, with the feet domino falling, it would be a lot easier for other events to get removed, since we haven't had anything removed or added since 2013.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that if we get into the habit of switching events a lot and getting rid of them and adding them, I think we're gonna kind of get into a bad habit, because the more events we remove, the more people's favorite event, or the event they practice the most, or the event they're best at, is getting rid. It's like going away. So, for example, like really good people at a feat got mad, of course, because all their world records will be taken away. Well, that's not that bad. But what if we take away a clock? Like, more people are gonna get mad, and if we get into this habit, that might lead to other events. And then who knows? Like, one day we might not even have some events that people like really practice. And even if we start even getting into like blind events, you have to do so much effort for that all that effort is lost when it's not a WCA event. Because like feet, not algs. Same thing with clock. Though when you really get good at events, for example, 2x2, which I don't think people are gonna get rid of, though. Still, you have to learn a lot of algs to be good. And if we get rid of events that are really alg heavy or really hard to get good at, people are just gonna start to get even more mad.
Yeah, and with that, feet is kind of, how do I phrase it? It's kind of I wouldn't say
Awkward.
It's weird because feet is very similar to 3x3 and OH. I mean, I saw Felix's when feet was announced, he actually made like a post about this a comment about this on like the speed solving forum.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, one of the points that I brought was feet doesn't really contribute anything more than different turning. Like, it takes no additional skill that a 3x3 solver wouldn't have. And in fact, lots of 3x3 solvers that are fast, sorry, other way around. Lots of feet solvers that are fast are also fast 3x3 solvers.
Because they have to.
And like DRL is kind of like a last layer king. Like, he knows all these one look last layer cases. Like, I see him on Facebook all the time with like these wacky one look last layers. But I think like lots of that transferred over from 3x3. But so like removing feet itself isn't really gonna get rid of everything for that event. Whereas like other events, like if they removed Mega, all those like PLLs and OLLs and all these algs on it are specific to Mega. But I don't really see feet as like causing a big problem with that. But I could see it kind of a trickle down effect where like feet, lots of the arguments were kind of questionable. I mean, one of the arguments was that it would make some of ranks more valid because some people don't want to compete in feet, and therefore if they're able to not compete in feet because it's not there, then it's valid, which is kind of like a bad argument. Or like
weak argument. Well,
one of them was that people abuse the +2 penalty a lot in feet, just because it's faster to just stop the timer in +2 than it is to finish doing AUF. But that could be like fixed with another egg, maybe increasing the penalty for feet or like something like that. Or like if you intentionally are doing this and the judge can tell that you're obviously intentionally doing that, then it's an extra penalty or something like that. But yeah, lots of the things for feet aren't really valid. And so like if you kind of take that with other events, then all of a sudden with every event removed, it can be a less and less valid argument for removal until it just gets to the point where it's like it's annoying to hold or something just because like it takes time.
Yeah, I think we don't want to. Something that a lot of people are saying, we're adding like more rules. But what I think is that adding more rules is just gonna make becoming a delegate harder, not making the increase of competitions decrease. Because it's just gonna be bad because more rules, and then competitions are certainly gonna be slower if we had rules like that. And obviously, just adding those to feet probably won't make much of a difference. But what if we added those rules to like 7x7? Because some people are like, stuff like that. Like if we added weird rules for other events, I think again we just don't want to get in the habit of switching too much rules, because then we're just gonna get into that habit, which I guess could be good, though who knows, it could actually be bad.
What do you guys think about like feet gets removed, then like we wait a year or two and see what event is the least competed in. And then we look into removing that one as well. Maybe not the blind events because those are harder.
The primary reason wasn't necessarily low event, so like I think it would be a mixture of things.
Yeah.
But I think blind events don't really share as many of the things with fee. I would say clock for sure shares most of like the similarities of reason for removal. Maybe even like 7x7 just because like
it's the same thing as 6x6.
Kind of redundant because it's similar to 6x6. Rankings are almost identical for both.
But then if we looked at like what was getting competed in let's just say those 2 years, then we could think about removing an event and then maybe even adding a new one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because we don't want to get rid of too many events, and a lot of people really want to add some events because some people are legitimately practicing those events a lot. For example, ReadyCube. Like, I know some people like have finished averages of 1,000 on ReadyCube. It's insane, and they're like good.
And then,
one thing I'd like to bring up with this is Acme was denied, but with this, one thing that was brought up this year by I think Lucas Guerin was kind of temporary events. So I think that would be interesting to discuss. That's
actually really good.
His idea, I think it was 1 or 2 years. I think it was 2, just so that like you get a world championship for each event, kind of.
Yeah, so kind of like instead of like
it would be added, and it results like you could compete in this event for 2 years, and then it also kind of gives everyone a clean slate. So like they just kind of choose an event where they think it has like a good promise that no one's really been practicing at home too much or something. And then it kind of gives everyone a chance to compete at the same time and everyone the same chance and amount of time to progress and all that. So it's more of a who's been practicing the most and less of a who's been doing it the longest kind of thing. But I think that would be interesting, but at the same time, I'm just not a huge fan of the idea just because like it's so temporary.
Yeah.
But
that
an
idea seems pretty good. But I guess what I was thinking was if we add an event and then wait 2 years, the community would kind of have control on what would be removed. If a lot of people wanted to get, let's say, clock removed, then they might not. Then organizers maybe wouldn't host it that much, or if people wanted to keep clock, a bunch of organizers might jump on and start organizing the event. So they could kind of control what event was getting competed the least in. And then also if they added a new event, then they should be flexible on if it should stay or not, because it might be super popular in the beginning, but after 2 or 3 years, if it's not getting hosted that much, then we should think about removing it again.
2 years is almost like a trial run, and if a large of the community enjoys it, then they kind of keep it, and if not, then they kind of just phase it out and replace it with a new event.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Kind of make it like you need to test yourself, and if you do good, then you can go on to like the next level, kind of. And like become a permanent event. Though what I was thinking from a cube, legitimately the cube you use, is that cube companies, let's say we had ReadyCube for 3 years, temporarily. And everybody's like, yay, ReadyCube. So we have the ReadyCube, but of course other companies are going to be like, wait, I can make money off this, so let's make
Yushin is developing one right now, actually.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and they're just going to and then they're going to make it one, and then they're going to make, magnetic ReadyCube. But then what happens after those 3 years? All those puzzles become practically useless in competition, lowering the price a lot, which can be very damaging to a company if the cube is actually really expensive to make. Because they're going to make this really high quality, let's say ReadyCube, that's like $30. But then when it doesn't become an event, it just drops to $10 because nobody wants to buy it.
Yeah. One of the things is cubes can take a while to
produce,
To produce. C-Million clock, but like even with that, if they announce it's being added, it gives cube companies some time to start working on it. But ultimately, like they're not going to be able to like crank them out as much as like 3x3s or something, and like you're not going to see as much hardware development. which isn't necessarily bad, but
it's a risky choice because you might lose money.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree, though, that the community should have control, though?
Yeah, I certainly think that because I'm kind of tired of us cubers just sitting here with some delegates that some of them already have full-time jobs and don't even spend like 100% of their time on cubing when like we spend a lot of time since we're younger. It's certainly getting us frustrated when they're just going to a meeting. Of course, they're older. So I personally think if we had some kind of like choosing system or they kind of looked at the community perspective a tiny bit more, I just think it would be a little bit more fair since it's kind of unfair.
I would actually say the opposite, just because, I mean, not necessarily the opposite, but I wouldn't give community full control by any means, but I would give them
not full control, but
a small input, and I think the WCA really has been working on that a lot more recently. With the WCA communications team was just released, and maybe it's committee, it's team or committee, something like that. But lots of the things that they've been working on is like a few months ago, there was a competitor banned for cheating and blindfolded. It was super controversial because like they still haven't proved necessarily how he cheated. It was just that like the results aren't attainable by him. And so lots of people were mad because like they're like, why are you banning this guy? And so they created the like WDC monthly digest. With these new reg changes, they on GitHub are like, we're open to suggestions. They posted on the WCA site saying that people can make suggestions and discuss it. So it gives the community more input, but still leaves control ultimately the board and delegates, primarily the board.
Kind of like
I think something like that, that's good for the community, I think. And if they can continue to work on that, then it's going to be good. I mean, there's still going to be decisions that people aren't happy with, but I think overall it's smart to have these guys in control of the community, because like I think if we gave the community control, Feet and Clock wouldn't be here anymore already. Like it would have been earlier removal, but like
I honestly think that kind of it's gonna be a very tight issue because there's always like I was thinking more like a community gives opinion, but the delegates kind of control it. Because we do have like a lot of cubers that change opinions, and the community is so big. And if we imagine we did like this online voting thing, so much people could make like second emails and sign up and like make it kind of unfair. So
I remember someone did propose that, and one solution to that is you sign up with your WCA account.
Oh, that's
so that ensures that you only have competitors, but at the same time,
you can make it fake so easily.
You can't actually, no, like you'd have to have gone to a competition at least once.
Oh, with your WCA ID?
Yeah, with your WCA ID. So like you'd like your profile on the WCA site, it has to have an ID attached with it. And I think that could be a potentially good solution, but like I think the question at that point is how much weight do we give their votes? Just because like
much. I wouldn't give them much.
Like if the community is voting to keep Feet, but like they're seeing legitimate issues with it and it needs to be removed, or vice versa. Like they want to keep Feet, but everyone's like, we don't want this event. Then like it just causes these problems.
Yeah, it just causes more.
And it's like ultimately who is going to be allowed to make that decision. And I think it should stay with the WCA. I mean, they're the ones doing all of this, but I definitely appreciate that they've been making these ongoing efforts to be more open with the community, more transparent about some things, and more open to input. Even one thing I saw, Jonathan Klosko made like, I don't know exactly what it's called. It's like, basically it's a WCA site where you can see everything. So there was some problems with it initially. Like there was some sensitive info on there, not like birth dates or personal info. It was like they had some of like the senior delegate stuff, like applications. They had links to the applications to make delegates. So they fixed that. But I think right now it shows like competition info behind the scenes, like any comments on why the name was there. It just shows some stuff like that. So like they're trying to be transparent in kind of more ways, I guess, which I think is really nice.
Well, yeah, certainly the WCA certainly is like a very interesting topic to talk about, since I think it's that one thing that a lot of people don't agree on. because we've all had, like, a lot of people don't agree on WCA rules, and it's certainly a thing that we all care about because most of our community is actually based around practicing for competitions for the WCA, and obviously it's also based on, like, the online and friend thing. So it's part of it is certainly based on revolving and practicing events that the WCA has, because you see a lot more people practicing 5x5 than you see practicing 9x9.
Yeah, I think if we can give input and influence the way the WCA board and community stuff makes how they make decisions, I think that's a good middle ground to be in.
Yeah, I think honestly the WCA is doing pretty good. Like, there's not. In my perspective, I've legitimately in the last few months, I've never met a keeper saying, "Oh my God, I hate the WCA. There's this and that wrong with it."
I've seen people saying they hate committees, especially WCAT. Kind of going to that topic, but WCAT was more recently implemented, and they've been pretty strict about comps, which is good in some ways, but not nice in others. They're trying to make it more professional, but in some ways, people aren't liking it as much. You have to be much more specific on things. And one thing people aren't liking is naming. Is lots of names are getting denied, and like people don't like it. And do names really matter that much? No, but it's fun to have that in the community.
Yeah, it's always like
personally, I held a competition at my house called PBQTA, like kind of PBQ. Playing on like the Please Be Quiet thing. And then the Ta is because it's in Utah. So it's kind of a fun play on words there, right?
Yeah.
But they denied that and actually had me change it to Please Be Quiet Utah because they felt it wasn't clear enough or it wasn't professional enough. And at the same time, there have been a few cases already where they aren't being super consistent. Like there was a competition named Salem Cube Trials and a bunch of people were like, "Why are you doing that? That's like super offensive. Like you're naming this competition after a historical event." And then some people were like, "Well, there was only like I think it's like 17 people total like killed during those." And then they're like, "Where do you draw the line? Like, does it like is the WCA going to have something?" Like there have been like comps named after like historical battles. I think like there's like a Battle of Lexington.
Yeah.
Why are all these in the Boston area? I live in the Boston area, and I've been to both of those competitions. Like, seriously, what's wrong with all of these names?
But, like, I think Battle of Lexington, like, that's an important historical event. Like, I think it was Civil War, I believe, or something like that. But it's like, like, there was a reason. But like Salem Cube Trials, it's like you're referencing an event where the only thing was, like, people just died. And that's, like, kind of like, it's not a ton of people, but it's like it's still not really an appropriate topic to necessarily have a competition. But like you're also denying these other names, which like
aren't that bad.
Yeah, it's kind of just inconsistencies, and some people don't like how much power they have over competitions and their names.
Yeah, because honestly, I always find it more entertaining to go to a competition that has like the weirdest and like most.
I think it just makes it more memorable and fun.
Yeah,
like, my first competition was Gotta Solve Fast.
Exactly.
Kind of like a Sonic Gotta Go Fast meme or whatever, like the Sonic memes. But like, one thing that like I think Bob Burton was saying it was like if like on Facebook was like if you guys are just going to complain about like competition names, we can always just make it like the same format where it's just city, season, and then year, and then if there's multiple comps in the city, then we'll just like put a number on it. So like it would be New York cubing, like New York Spring 2016, New York Spring 2 2016, like stuff like that. And it would just make all competitions, I think, kind of just lose that fun to it. And also that recognizability, just because like if all my competitions were Salt Lake City, like spring and then the year or something, or like the season, then like
it would be really
kind of
hard to remember
lose track of like which comp was which venue and stuff. But instead we have fun names like Snowball Bash or Mega Comp. What are some other cool ones we've had? Like just stuff like that. And I think that kind of would take away some fun to the WCA. And I think lots of people are just complaining about that in general is they feel like some of these new committees are just trying to take away fun to make it
Keep it
overly professional.
Well, yeah, I think that's honestly, competitions are a huge topic, and it's certainly like a lot of people.
It's what our community revolves around pretty much. So like, they're very important.
So but honestly, I'm just gonna like right before I don't know what you're gonna do next, Josh, honestly, but I'm just gonna set my opinion out there. I honestly think that we need like comp names should be up to the organizer, but if it's something like inappropriate, I'm not gonna say it in the podcast just because, But if it's something like that, obviously you can say no, but you really shouldn't restrict that person because it honestly makes it really more memorable, the experience.
And they even have a competition naming scheme kind of thing that goes over some of those things, but they're kind of like denying lots of like things that don't necessarily fit in there. Like PBQTA never really clearly went against anything on there. It was specific about what the comp was. It was like a PBQ, and it kind of implied the location, which was so it followed them, but then they kind of denied it, and so people aren't liking that. So I think ultimately, if they were either more specific about that, and like people were more aware of what is good and isn't good to go, then they would be more okay with that than kind of like it's like a hit or miss, just shot in the dark. Not sure if this comp name is going to get approved or not. One thing also is they don't want comps being named after memes, and so lots of people are kind of upset about that.
Yeah, because a lot
because
of
it certainly makes it's not. Does that really add to the comp a ton? Not really, but like it just kind of feels restricting, I guess, to like do all that. Like
there's a lot
625 Bay Area speed cubings or whatever have been held on like June 25th, so it's like 625 the date. But I don't think those are allowed anymore because it's like 625 as in like Mitch. But like stuff like that, or like there was a competition named actually I don't know if this has been announced technically. This was on like the WCA launching site or whatever that I was talking about earlier. That's what it's called, launching site. Yeah. But it was called Objectively Optimal like 2019, and it was based in Australia. But there's kind of a Facebook meme about Objectively Optimal and a few cubers. So like I feel like, but the main goal of I think it's an FMC only comp, and so you can argue both ways that like, hey, this is a meme, but also, hey, look, this is like what the event is. So like I think they just kind of need to be more either strict and specific or just more lenient on all of this.
Yeah, I guess my opinion would be if the name represents and talks about what's actually what the competition is about, then I would say as long as it's appropriate, then it should be allowed.
Yeah. Honestly. Well, yeah, that's honestly, comps are again, a huge thing to talk about. And honestly, comp names, the thing is, we don't know if when you go to a comp, let's say it's called Salt Lake City Open 2019, but the competition was supposed to be called like something like a meme. You actually don't know that it was supposed to be called a meme, so you don't get mad at it. So it's kind of a weird topic to argue, since you usually don't get much insight on what a comp was actually going to be named, on what it actually was named.
Mm-hmm.
One thing people were kind of joking about too is lots of cities have arguably like inappropriate names. I won't specify any because this is a family-friendly podcast or whatever, but there's some like suggestive and inappropriate like city names, and so lots of people are joking like, I'm going to hold it in this place, like the city, and then I'm going to name the comp that, and they have to accept it. So all of a sudden, like, you get this competition where it's like profanity or something, or it's some like inappropriate thing or something like that, and people are joking about that a lot. And I'm like, well, if they do the city thing, I'm wondering how they would do that. Like, would you not be allowed to hold competitions in like these places just because like the names, like, are they restricting where competitions can be now too by doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
that's gonna be that's a really controversial topic.
Yeah. I think this would be a good place to wrap up this topic. Why don't we move on to the next one? CuberCubes, do you want to go right ahead with that?
Oh yeah. So certainly, as I said before, I'm honestly a cubicle guy. Though I do respect SES. They still are a pretty good store. So yeah. So the other day, if you haven't heard, SpeedCubeShop.co.uk is in fake website that pretends to be SpeedCubeShop, and they actually look pretty similar. So what has been happening is that they put cubes at really cheap prices, and they also put out unreleased cubes as they're already in stock in the website, and then people order them because they're either from the UK, and they might get faster shipping because it says UK at the end of the name, or two, they just want the cheaper price, which I honestly would do if I knew about the website. So yeah, so they did this, but then they got scammed and the product never came. But since that website didn't have any customer service, they went over to the real SpeedCube shop, SpeedCubeShop.com, and instead of going hey, do you know if this is a scam, they just blamed it all on SpeedCube Shop because they supposedly didn't set their unreleased Volk 3 Elite M, which is, in my opinion, extremely unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I would like to point out is they did send cubes to some people, so it wasn't completely a scam, but in many cases it wasn't the correct cube, or the cube never got sent. So there was many cases where people were like, "Hey, where are my cubes? Hey, it's where are my cubes again?" Part 2. But they were just like, "Hey, where are my cubes at?" to SpeedCube Shop, emailing them or messaging them. They're like, "You never made an order with us," and then they're like, "I made an order through SpeedCubeShop.co.uk, so that's you guys, right?" So, SpeedCube Shop has, I believe, said that they're going to try and take legal action against them if they don't take their site down. So,
I think they've already changed it to SpeedCubeStore.co.uk. So that still looks like, one, it still looks like the real SpeedCube Shop, and I still think it should really be shut down because scamming people on cubes, it's something that it's never been an idea that big in the cubing community. Probably it has happened at some point, in a really weird, rare situation, but we've never heard in the cubing community of such a big scam, if you know what I'm talking about. So much people getting scammed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't something we've come across before, and a lot of you guys listening might have seen the videos. JPerm put out a good video on the information about this as well. So it's good that SpeedCube Shop is
taking action.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What I was reading in the comments, Cameron was lots of people were like, "Why did everyone just upload a video at once?" Cameron actually asked if the sponsors would be kind enough to upload a video just discussing the topic. So there was several SpeedCube Shop sponsorees that got made videos about the topic to kind of just spread awareness to all sorts of different communities and hopefully as many people as possible so that they're not going to fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, this kind of seems really shocking because I know scamming is a thing, and as a soccer player, I have heard of fake soccer cleats. It's an extremely common thing, and you have to be really careful when shopping. So what I really find it bad is that, imagine you're an experienced keeper and you get scammed. You're like, okay, it's fine. I've been keeping. I know that the keeping community is still good, and this is rare. But imagine a beginner, and they just order from SpeedCubeShop.co.uk, and then they get that experience. So that gives them a really bad first impression, and it really makes them down because they either didn't get the order or got a wrong cube or I don't even know what they got. Maybe they just got a box. I don't know. I just find it really frustrating.
It kind of reflects badly on a SpeedCube Shop too, just because some of these newer guys especially aren't as aware of this, and so all of a sudden the next few years they're just telling their friends that they don't use SpeedCube Shop anymore because the one time SpeedCube Shop scanned them or whatever, but they never realized that incident was not SpeedCube Shop. So it kind of portrays SpeedCube Shop pretty negatively, which is why I think it needs to be fixed properly.
And the worst thing in my opinion is that SpeedCube Shop is not a bad store at all. It's a really good store. They've got a wide selection of lubes. The only problem with them is that they sometimes don't have are sold out of some puzzles. Though other than that, their shipping is extremely fast. Once I had an order they sent me the email for the processing ended in 30 minutes, which is insane.
Yeah, I've had that a couple of times.
Store. Like, it's insane what they do.
Same here.
And they're a really good store.
Yeah, if you order before it's 5 p.m. Pacific time, and they get the shipment on the truck, if they get the shipment on the truck the same day, usually if there's no storms or anything slowing down the mail, it comes in 2 days with first class shipping.
Just the shipping aside, just because like shipping isn't always in their control, like their processing times, I haven't had Cubicle beat out or Cube Depot. I've always had, I think, fastest for Cubicle is like about half a day that I've used them, and then Cube Depot I've only used like once or twice, but it was like about a day. But like SpeedCubeShop, I've had I think like 3 or 4 instances where it's been like 30 to 40 minutes after I placed the order that has been shipped, which is just kind of like crazy.
Yeah, if you're not
and, like, it's super unfair because then people are thinking that SpeedCubeShop is a scam, and who knows? Maybe we might be 10 years into the future, and there's still that really weird guy who still thinks SpeedCubeShop is a scam. Like, things like this happen, and they happen in a lot of other communities. And I just find it sad that this like really nice cubing community that has never had such like a big like scam problem just like came over one. Though I'm pretty sure if they changed the name to SpeedCube Store, and the website's probably going to be shut down. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and it's super easy to see why people would buy from there. Not just because it's the same name, but they might think SpeedCubeShop.com has a warehouse in the UK. So
yeah,
and there are actually I don't know, like I'm trying to think, like what is it called? It's like Cube ZZ UK or something like that. They distribute SpeedCubeShop lubes. I think, what is it? It's like there's like something like Speedco, Speed something, whatever in Australia. It distributes like cubicle cubes.
Yeah.
The extra ones. So there's been like instances in the past where these stores have had kind of
extensions,
foreign like extensions, I guess, in a way where they sell through another store.
But they still make money.
But they still make money off the product ultimately. So like, I think people also might have just thought it could be something like that. Like, hey, you know what? Like maybe they got a new location up like internationally, just like get things out faster. Like they're getting a European one and a one in North America, just so that they can kind of get everyone as fast as they can. But like,
it seems really realistic. The thing, it's like it's not something like they opened I don't know, like in the middle of like nowhere. And the website looks legit. And if I was a beginner cuber, I probably would have fallen for that scam. If I got sent to the websites, I saw the prices, I saw the unreleased puzzles in stock, it would have been a very easy scam to fall for, honestly.
Yeah. And I kind of think this is the cubing community up to this point has been pretty small, which means that there isn't exactly a lot of money, but I think like the cubing community is just growing a lot, and it's gotten to the point where like there's money involved in this. Like
like
Red Bull,
Rubik's
they're interesting cubing. Rubik's is starting to. Rubik's has gotten pretty crazy about it.
Because we want to make money
trying
on
to
worlds.
Get Chinese cube stores shut down, and the cube pool at one point, and Red Bull, and now we have all these scammers that are starting to come in here. So like, I mean, it's good the community is growing, but it's kind of bringing some unfortunate side effects that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's turning it more into more of a competitive hobby instead of a really relaxed hobby, which kind of is frustrating because things like Rubik's happen, and like they legit sued Cubing USA just because they said no, because to like host
I forgot about that. They tried to sue Cubing USA.
Yeah, and it's insane
because they weren't invited as a sponsor.
Yeah, Cubing USA have 100% the right to do this, and then the worst part is Rubik's has never cared about Rubik's Cube manufacturing and all the and stuff like that. But then suddenly, when there starts to be money involved, oh wait, I'm rich. Like, let's sue these people.
To be fair, a majority of their audience is not the cubing community. It's going to be other people, just because like there's such a huge brand, and the cubing community is still so small compared to like everyone.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
the Rubik's Cube is the world's #1 selling puzzle, but like, there's still a lot of money involved. So like, I think they kind of realize that they can tap into that and make an extra buck.
Like, I'm pretty sure like all the how big each keeping company is, how much it's worth and stuff. Like all Ganchi, Moyu, all the big ones. I saw this post the other day that was like insane. Like if you combine all the big keeping companies, they still aren't like a little bit off Rubik's. Like it's insane because Rubik's just like I don't see much people today going to a competition using a Rubik's puzzle instead of like they're a beginner. And mostly they, as you said, they appeal more to the non-cubing side, and they do bring in some cubers, which is nice. Though I think they're starting to try to become, I guess, speed cubing related. And
They're
it's
kind of
certainly
trying to monopolize everything, which is illegal.
yeah.
That's what the
It's kinda
cubicle
like
is going to
saying-
counter-sue them for.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, oh, you didn't say that I could go to your birthday party, so I'm suing you. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much sued Keeping USA when they had every single right and, like, every single thing you could imagine to just say no. Legit. It's really annoying.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I think that's all we kind of have to say about the keeping community kind of getting scammed and all the money that's been getting into it. Also, sponsorships have been a huge deal. Like, everybody wants to get sponsored now.
So
yeah.
kind of a off-topic thing, but something funny I saw the other day about sponsorship related. Rasmus, I don't remember how to say his last name. Like Square One, like former world record holder, but he's like at home the fastest in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got a sponsorship, which is great, from the Cubicle, and they sent him the jacket, and he is, I believe, I'm trying to remember. I believe he's Dutch, but he got a jacket, and like, you know how it has the flag on there? It had the German flag.
Oh God, that's like, that would have been so rude to him. Like, imagine just opening that and like,
And
excuse me,
I was just
Cubicle?
kind of, everyone was
German.
kind of like making like, haha, that's funny, but like at the same time, I'm like, they don't exactly like pump these things out. Like, how many sponsors do they have? Like, they're making these jackets individually, like, and if they're not paying attention to like a single sponsor's jacket and they only have a few sponsors, like, that's just bad image for their store right there, like, for quality control.
Yeah, it's kind of like disappointing, honestly. Stuff like that, I think the keeping community, it's really sad to say, though. It's pretty obvious that, again, it's like, it's getting a lot of money, isn't it? Every day, like, it increases. Like, also another thing that's been happening is that I've heard that some big, like, keeping websites where they share stuff, and like SpeedCube, like just a bunch of keeping websites and stuff. They've been getting a lot more into like companies have been getting into like adding ads into them and keeping ads. Like the other day I was on some random website and I just saw a SpeedCubeShop ad, and like that kind of just reminded me that like the keeping community is becoming a lot more money related and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like kind of, I guess the SpeedCubeShop is paying for ads on like Google and stuff.
I've seen Cubicle and Shop ads in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It
seems like whenever you've been looking at cubes or
Yeah,
whatever you've been looking,
they use cookies, and kind of like a brief what that is kind of your computer will recognize things that you may be interested in, and it will tell advertisers what that is. So they're not really stealing data or anything. They're just kind of like trying to enhance user performance, saying, hey, this guy was just searching cubes. Let me throw him some cube advertisements. This guy was looking at TVs. Let me throw him a TV advertisement here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's how that whole system works.
But it's certainly kind of weird starting to see the community kind of get more money related. And another
I remember actually a while ago there was a billboard of, what was it? I'm trying to remember. I remember SpeedCubeShop posted it, and I think it was a Moyu billboard in China.
Really?
Oh.
I may not be correct. It was either like a cube store. It was either SpeedCubeShop or Moyu, I think. But yeah, it was like a billboard for their business, and I was kind of like, that's kind of like weird, like,
because
cubing
not a
has
lot
got
of people
billboard worthy. Yeah.
It's mostly online that you want to put those ads. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what we were talking about in both situations. It's a lot more about cube stores and how they want to make money and all their advertisement and how they look and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how different stories connect so much into the same topic.
Yeah, it is. And I guess we'll wrap it up right there. Guys, thanks for sharing all the information and stories as well. Where can people find you on the internet? CuberCubes, why don't you go first?
Pretty obvious. You mentioned it earlier. I do have the CuberCubes channel. You can look it up at YouTube, www.youtube.com/theCuberCubes. All connected. I try to post like every 1 to 2 days, and I try to like make the videos as high quality as possible. Yeah, and I also have a Discord server if you want to find me there. I also have like a SpeedCube. I have a bunch of accounts. So yeah, but you can just link my YouTube channel, which actually has all the links to my other accounts, so you can just find it like that. And yeah.
Okay, cool. And CuberCubes, I do have to commend you for posting videos pretty much every day
Almost.
since I last had you on, episode 58. So, great job, and I hope you have some more success with your channel. How many subs are you up to now?
I set this goal of reaching 150 before the end of 2018 in like October, which I don't know why, but my views increased. I got like 3 videos like consecutively that were uploaded in 3 days. Went over 1,000 views. Like everything exploded. Like beginning of January, I made an MF3RS 3M review, which was like, and there was no MF3RS 3M review, like not even found on the internet. So I made that super early, and then I have 1.7k views on that. So it kind of just exploded, and it's been slowing down the sub increases because I was at a point where I was gaining like 10 subs a day, and I'm pretty sure I'm almost at 300. Though it's been slowing down, which I was expecting, so I'm not really getting disappointed that it's been slowing down because it was good. There's gonna be that one point where everything just slowed down because the way my videos were averaging over 100 views, which before 2018 it will happen. So I guess I kind of got lucky on one video just going like a few videos just getting over 1,000 views, and I got pretty lucky, I guess.
Yeah, that's still good getting impressions. So almost tripling your subscribers since last time you were on. Good job. Underwater Cuber, where can we find you?
My YouTube channel is Underwater Cuber. You'll notice that my videos aren't quite as frequent. My channel's kind of flatlined, but I have been planning and scripting a lot of blindfolded aim tutorials, mostly on intermediate stuff, just because right now there's kind of a big jump where all of a sudden you have to go from like these basic methods to 3-style, which is a big task. And so I've been researching these kind of intermediate methods, which aren't really well known. So I'm going to make some documentary on that, and then also kind of probably how to get fast at clock video. So I'm hoping to start working on that and releasing some of these videos soon. I average like 50 on blind. I have a 40 single. Clock I average like 6.5 at home about. My average is like 6, 7, 8 in comp. So I'm hoping to release some videos on those soon and hopefully revive my channel a bit. So stay tuned for that if you're interested.
Okay, yeah, and I'll definitely have all the links to your channels and everything in the show notes to this episode. Guys, thank you so much for adding so much to the podcast and for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It was great fun. It was a great podcast.
It was great meeting you guys and chatting. It was fun.
That was a fun and interesting conversation. If you want to be featured on one of the next episodes, all you have to do is go to thecornercutterpodcast.com/guest, fill out the form, make sure you're thorough in giving information, and I'll get back to you. And then how I usually do it is before I record a Cuber Chats episode, I send out an email letting the people who've already signed up in the form know what time I'm thinking of and what time I'm available. Then they email back what times they're available, and we work something out. Usually 1 or 2 or 3 people are available and we can record an episode. If not, we just can wait and try again in a couple days. So if you want to sign up, go to thecornercutterpodcast.com/guest. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I am now making magnetic Ling-Ao clocks. So I've been selling magnets for a while so you could make a magnetic clock on your own. But now I'm actually making the clocks, lubing them, setting them up. So they're awesome. I mean, I made one yesterday. I actually shipped it out to Norway. And I was just like, this is such a nice clock. I was having fun playing with it before I packaged it up and sent it out, because I kind of like to break it in a little bit and make sure it's perfect before I ship it out. So that was fun. So if you want a magnetic clock, you can just go to thecornercutterpodcast.com/clock magnets, and all the information is on the page there. I'll have a link in the show notes as well. And I do, like I said, Norway, I do ship internationally as well if you can cover the extra shipping. So, also, I'm going to be coming out with a magnetic clock tutorial soon. I have some special techniques that I like to do for my magnetic clocks, and I would love to share those and show you guys how to make a well set up clock. So, that should be coming out sometime in the next couple of weeks. So, thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, even if you're cubing and you just have it as like kind of background noise. That's what I hear a lot of you guys say. Thank you for listening and listening all the way through. I do appreciate you guys. I want to thank Samuel and CuberCubes for coming on. Make sure to check out their channels. I'll have the links in the show notes. And that's it for episode 72. Remember, you can email me, josh@thecornercutterpodcast.com. And now it's time to take this episode back to the scrambling table. And I'll talk to you guys again next week in episode 73 of the Corner Cutter Podcast. I'm working out an interview with Patrick Ponce, and since he just got his PB 6.14, I believe, 3x3 average, and a sub-5 single, I mean, he already has one, but maybe we can discuss that when I get him on, so that should be fun. Keep an eye out for that episode.